I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago.
Today in studio, we have a previous guest, and we are excited to have him back with us. We have Jay DuSold of LifeAfter12.com. Jay is a career coach and an advisor and a mentor to help pour into your adolescent and your future adult and help you launch your child out into the world, if you will, the world of work or the world of higher education. You may remember Jay. He has been a podcast guest with us on the Homeschool Counseling Network podcast. So check out our links in the description box below so you can learn more about Jay's career coaching practice. Today, Jay, tell us about your course that you have on your website, The 4 Foundations of Effective Parental Career Guidance.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks again for the opportunity to share this with your listeners. So the backstory to creating the course was hearing so many parents tell me that they don't feel adequate to actually do something as far as help and support. And I don't believe that. And after a decade, yeah, you're pointing to yourself. Okay, so you're in that camp. So this was for you. Okay. But after a decade of doing this work, I was getting frustrated and upset, not at the parents, but at that false belief that so many of them were adopting and embracing, like, I really can't help my kid in this area. And so I don't believe that. Like, I believe parents can play an incredibly effective role in career guidance with their kids. And so I just sat down one day. I'm like, I want to do something about this, like, false limiting belief that so many parents have. How can I actually empower and equip them not only to believe differently, but then to implement, take action, and become effective in helping their kids with career guidance? So I just literally sat down, said a few prayers, and then said, okay, where would I start? And so the beginning point of that course, the first little unit is, yes, you, a career guide. And I really try to make a case to encourage parents to say, don't throw this idea out. Like, let's just stick with it for a little bit. I want to encourage you. I want to help you to see yourself differently, see your role differently, and then give you some tools that you can use to actually be a career guide to your kid in a way that's effective. And so my heart in releasing this course, it was to say, man, I want to empower and equip parents to do this. They can do this. And so again, if your audience is listening, maybe you're doubting, maybe today you're listening, you're like, yeah, I was just thinking, man, like, how could I ever help my kid with that? You can do it. And there's a resource that can actually equip you for such a task.
You spoke to my parent heart, you spoke to my counselor heart there, you spoke to my faith heart there, because there is something within us that sort of attacks us a little bit. And initially, it kind of holds us back from homeschooling at all. It makes us think, I can't do this. Yep. I know it held me back initially. I'm not equipped. I'm not a teacher. I forget I would teach my child to walk and teach my child to talk and teach my child to hold a spoon. So it's one of those things that, well, how do you eat an elephant? You eat it one bite at a time. So you don't have to know all of the answers right away, and you certainly don't have to know them all yourself.
Love that.
That's why you surround yourself with people who know more than you do. That is the beauty and the comfort of community. Mm-hmm. And I think your course provides that kind of community.
Yes, that was the heart behind it, is to just encourage, but then equip. Listen, we've all been around things that kind of, encourage us, make us feel inspired. But then we're like, what do I do now? So, right, exactly. So this is both. And so one of the, it's 4 foundations for effective career guidance. And the first one is just create a safe space. It is so important that, and especially if you're a parent of younger kids, like tweens, 10, 11-year-old, it is not too early to start focusing on this. Yes, I'm not trying to sell you my course, Kimberly, I promise you. Because you have an 11-year-old and this is ideal for you. But listen, I don't know if you're aware, Kimberly, but I think that's probably about 6 or 7 states now in the U.S. have the Board of Ed for these states have adopted very rigorous career readiness standards that have implications down into elementary school. And so
Oh,
elementary school, middle schools, high school, now again, this is public school, but they are now
right.
being mandated to offer certain hours each school year on issues specifically related to career readiness. So this idea of career guidance, career readiness, it is now moving into the lower grades and will only continue to do so. And again, this course is exactly designed for that. It's designed for you as a parent, even with a young child, elementary age,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
start laying the foundations. That's why it's called foundations, to be an
Right.
effective career guide. So number one is just laying a foundation of a safe space, meaning this. So many parents that I work with, they're like, yeah, my kid came to me and they told me they want to be a blank. And I said, well, what'd you do? I told him, absolutely not. There's no money in that. You can't do that. And I'm like, well, okay, we have a lot of work to do just on the first foundation, because a
Right.
safe space means poker face when they tell you what they want to do. In fact, celebrate their interest. It doesn't mean you're condoning the choice, but you just celebrate the interest. Be so happy for them. Tell them, I'm so glad you're thinking about this. Wow, you want to be that? That's awesome. Why do we create a safe space? So that they'll communicate, so that they'll talk with us, and we can ultimately influence and guide, right? So that's number one. Number two
Mm-hmm.
is you want to make sure that the whole thing is owned by them. It's ownership, meaning when they come to us with an idea, it's a safe space, we celebrate it. The reason that we want to do that is because we want to move them eventually toward discovery and research. And the chances of them doing that later step are much greater if they own the idea, right? If it's their thing
Mm-hmm.
that they want to do, we want to preserve the ownership. That's why we don't want to come against these ideas early on, right? And so ownership, make
Right.
sure that they own it, because they'll have initiative, they'll have resilience, right? They'll have effort
Mm-hmm.
if it's their thing. Once it becomes our thing and we're mandating it or telling them you should research the chances of them fighting us are much better, right? So let's just remove the fight, keep it their thing, right? And then we move into foundation number three, which is information, right? You have to help them get the right information. And so if it's their thing, we've created a safe space. Now we're just saying, hey, that's really great. Do you know much about that? Or what do you know about that job so far? Hey, there are a few things that are really important to know so that you don't regret the choice you make. Would you like to learn what those are? I learned them and I can share them with you, right? So that next stage is empowering parents to know what they should be helping their kids figure out about a job of interest, right? So that they are working
Mm-hmm.
with good information, gaining a holistic understanding of the job. So many young people run off to college, run off to a certification program, a trade school, thinking that's it. And they get into
Mm-hmm.
that preparation only to realize things about the job that they should have known earlier, but now they do. And it makes them regret their choice. It makes them change their mind. And so we want
And you're
to
in debt.
know what, yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to
Mm-hmm.
know that really early on in the process. So the foundation course shows parents what are those important things and how do you discover them. And then the fourth foundation is simply really making sure that not only do they have the right information, but if there's ongoing guidance and mentorship that's needed, it is question based. So I teach a whole strategy called question based mentoring. And the power of that is ensuring that the ownership stays with them, right? Because once parents start saying, hey, you should, it's no longer
Mm-hmm.
theirs.
It's
Now it's
not.
the parents.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like taking any concerns you have about the job of interest. Maybe you've helped your kid discover that it only makes $19,000 a year. And that's a little bit concerning to you. But instead of saying that's
Mm-hmm.
not going to work, you shouldn't do that. You're question-based mentoring. So you take your concerns and then you turn them into questions, thought-provoking questions. Oh, Wow. Have you do you know how far $18,000 will go? Have you ever thought about how much you need to make to have the lifestyle you envision? How does that compare to the average wage in our state, right? These are just, thought-provoking, wise, skillfully crafted questions that will inevitably cause them to say, gee, I didn't even think about that. No, I don't know. Well, would you like to? I actually know how to discover that as well, right? And so it's
Mhm.
mentoring, but it's done in a way that really ensures that the ownership stays with them. We're not giving commands and directives. We're just answering, or we're just asking thought-provoking questions that we've thought through. So those are the four foundations. Create that safe space. Make sure that you're maintaining ownership. Make it their thing. Get them to the right information, and then any mentoring that is required, make sure it's question based so that that ownership stays theirs.
Jay, this is a course that I would love to share with several adults that I know.
It does have implications for adults.
It really does. This is a
Yeah.
parenting course. This is a life skills course. This is a mentorship course.
Mm,
This is so many things I can see and so many benefits of this. And I thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come on. I was going to ask for a tip for homeschooling families, but you just gave them four. So this works.
yeah.
This works so much. So thank you so much for taking the time to come in and share with us about your beautiful course of the four foundations of effective parental career guidance, the importance of mentorship and buy-in on the part of your child, because
Yes.
you're going to launch them. They're not going to be in your home forever. They're not going to be in your home forever. So why not launch them and prepare them as best as you possibly
Yes.
can?
Correct. Love that.
If you want to find Jay's course, you can find him at Life After 12th. That's the number 12th, like 12th grade.com. And I will put some links in the description box below. Thank you so much for your time today.